Some of my friends have been recommending a book recently called 10x is easier than 2x. And I need to come back with the author's name, Dan Sullivan, and somebody else. It was co-written. And I will put the author's name in the show notes. But the concept of this driving for 10 times the goal instead of 2 times the goal that you have, which could be make one artwork this week, it could be make $10,000 or pounds or euros. It could be to collaborate with somebody, one person this year. And I think, especially as this relates to financial goals too, the idea of asking yourself, if I 10 times the goal that I have instead, what does that look like? And I haven't read the book yet, so I'm sure I'll have more to say on this topic once I've read the book. But I just wanted to give my thoughts before reading it in terms of my thoughts around thinking about my 10x goal as opposed to my normal goal. So, for example, if I think about the book that's going to come out soon and how many copies I want to sell, like one of my goals is to sell 5,000 copies. And the reason that I've got that goal is because if I was going down the professional publish route, that's the number that they want to know that you can sell. And so I kind of like set that goal as an aim so that I know that if I was to be published, then I would have hit the goal. It's a crazy way to do it. But there's been a lot of kind of, for me with the book, it was so terrifying to be published by a publishing house because I didn't like the feeling of the pressure and then selling the rights of the book to somebody else and they having full control over what it is and what it becomes. And but there's part of me that, as I've been going through my book writing process, has executed it as if I am being published. And it's almost to kind of prove to myself that I could have done it if I wanted to do it, you know? But that goal then of 5,000 books is my aim because that's what it would have taken to be, published by a publisher. And so that's become my goal. And then recently, as I've been hearing friends talk about the book 10xing that goal, has really got me questioning, why not 10 times that amount? And I love this concept because it's really got me thinking out of the box in terms of how I've set that goal for the number of books that I would like to sell is based on proving myself right or proving someone else wrong, And actually, it's great to have a goal. I've got something to aim towards, and it would be great if I sold 5,000 copies. That would be absolutely amazing because actually that feels like a stretch goal to me. That feels like a best goal. Like that would be crazy. But part of me is thinking, well, what does that look like if I add a zero on the end of that? Why not push for that many? And what would that look like? And this is where it gets really interesting because the first thing that happens to me when I think about 10xing a goal is all of a sudden I start to panic and I start to imagine this crazy bonkers life where, if I sold that many books, it would be popular, it'd be all over the place and it would be scary. And I'd start to think, well, I'd have to be in all these scary places and I'd have to be doing all these big talks. And so that part of the 10x, and it would have to be difficult. This is another one. You sometimes think if I had to 10x it, I'd have to work harder, I'd have to sacrifice so much. And you start, before you know it, painting a picture of how terrible it would be to 10x your goal. And so I think that's really useful to know first and foremost, because the fear comes up, the fear of doing better than what you've set brings up the fears that are truly inside of you, what's holding you back, probably even hitting your good goal. When you think about 10xing it, what comes up to you straight away is probably what's holding you back anyway, hitting the goal that you've already set. It's because it's probably not big enough for you to actually feel the fear in that moment, because maybe you just think, well, it's 5,000, if I can figure out a way to do it. It doesn't bring enough fear. So when I think about 10xing that goal, I'm like, oh my gosh. And so that's really good for me to know, because now I can start addressing those fears and asking, why not? And then another part of 10x in the goal then is when I think about, okay, first of all, now I've just added a 0 onto that 5,000, we've made it 50,000. Like, what would I need to have to make that goal come alive? What if I wanted to sell 50,000 copies? All of a sudden, I start to ask myself different questions around, how would I do that? I know I'd have to do it beyond my own platform and reach out to other people with big, massive platforms. And I would have to come up with creative ways to sell more copies and come up with fun activities, to really drive that. And so all of a sudden, it's got me thinking bigger in terms of where I would need to put myself, as opposed to the 5,000 goal, where I know I could probably do that within my own circle. So then it got me thinking, well, why am I not doing that? Why am I not going to push myself out onto these big platforms with my message, with my mission? Let's go for that. And again, that's when the fear comes up, or the real reasons that you're holding yourself back. And again, it's so great to do this because you start to question how you would make it happen. Who do I need to be as a person to sell that many copies? And that, for me, I know I'd have to get behind my mission. I have to get behind the reason the book exists. I have to get behind why I'm so passionate about sharing this with the world. I want to get it in as many hands as possible. And I have to get behind that in a big, big way, not go, here you go, here's my book. I hope you read it. It's different. How do other people sell that many books or that many pieces of artwork? And so it asks different questions. And that's when you start to get into that mind of, who would I need to be? Who do I need to connect with if I was to hit and add an extra 0 or 10x that goal that I've created? And then you start to explore different avenues and different ways of working that kind of make you feel a bit fearful. And the part I love about this too is that then what happens is that all of a sudden then the 5,000 goal is normalized. It becomes kind of like this, oh, you know what? Yeah, because it could be 50,000, it could be 100,000. And so even if you don't actually go towards the 10x goal, all of a sudden I feel like it kind of like normalizes what you're doing. It just makes me feel anyway like, yeah, this bit's doable. So I love it from that point of view. But then what I also love is that I am going to go and push. I am going to go and push and 10x this goal, because there's part of me that I think sometimes when you set a goal, especially a financial or a number, I want to sell this many pieces of art, that I've found this recently, like I've had some money goals I've had to pay off. When I was doing the house, I had to borrow some money, and it was really important to me that I paid that money back. And I had a money goal to pay that money back. And the weirdest things have happened where I've been able to do that recently. And it was spot on the money. Like, it was literally to the penny that money came. And I was like, this is so weird. It's not a coincidence. And so I think when you set your sights on a number and say the 5,000, there's a good chance that I could hit that 5,000. And with only 5,000 in my mind, I'm almost capping myself at that. And that's what we do sometimes with these number goals. When we set this number, it's almost like it's a cap. And so this again is why I'm going to be pushing that best goal, stretching it and really questioning what I need to do, have, what I need to get, behind me to hit that number. Because then I can break through the ceiling of the 5,000 that I've capped myself at with only focusing on that one number. And what I also believe is that if I go for that and add another zero on the end, even if I don't hit that number, it's not about hitting it. It's about thinking differently. It's about putting yourself into places that you wouldn't have put yourself in before if you just had the 5,000 goal. It's about connecting with people that you would have been too fearful to connect with because you were playing not small, because 5,000 sales isn't small, but it's like different levels bring different thinking and different questions and different places to position yourself. And so if you then push for that bigger goal, even if I don't get there, well, I could push past the 5,000 mark, I could get halfway there. But even if I push past the 5,000, I feel like with just having that one fixated goal, which I know sometimes can be helpful, by the way, I've got a number goal at the minute, I'm just fixating on that. But in my mind's eye, I've got another goal too, which I think it would be good to get to this one. But this idea of playing around with how you think and how you feel when you 10x that goal, I just think is so exciting. And, even if it doesn't become a reality, it can just get you thinking and asking the right questions and actually doing more than you would have with the goal that you have right now. So I'm going to throw this back to you. 10x your goal. How does it feel? What does that look like? What comes up for you straight away? And if you feel that you come across these challenges of, well, I couldn't 10x it because there's only one of me, I wouldn't be able to do it, then you ask the question, okay, so how would I do it? What would that look like? How would I have to do things if there's only one me and say you want to make like 100 pieces of artwork a year? It gets you going, well, that doesn't look possible. How could I make it possible? And these are the really, really amazing questions to start probing and asking yourself creatively, and have the conversation with a friend too. Maybe get together with a friend. If you're inside our hub platform, reach out in circle and say, I want to 10x my goal. This is what's come up for me. Buddy up with people in your accountability group if you're a hub member, and see what happens, see what comes up. And I would love to know, please do share with me what 10xing your goal feels like, what happens, what comes up. And if that is something that you feel that you want to explore, do let me know, and I'll let you know how my goal goes too. Take care, and I'll see you next week for some more Motivational Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.